very interested in making improvements out of this area. And obviously, from your standpoint, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't important to you as well. We know this area has tremendous history, tremendous drainage challenges, traffic challenges, a lot of different things that are coming together. And really the purpose tonight is to allow you all to hear from 5 different agencies that are working on projects, and we are working together in different committees and so forth. So that is a coordinated effort. But for you really to hear from at least a high level, what's going on, what are the projects, and the goal tonight is for you to be informed on what's happening, get some input. The way we're going to handle that is each speaker will have a short presentation on the particular project or program, and we'll take a little bit of Q&A after each one. But for detailed questions, after the meeting, we're going to have all the agencies represented out in the foyer here with the maps and the engineers and architects and designers to be there to talk about the specific questions as well. So during the large group discussion, we won't dive into a lot of detail, but we'll reserve that for after the meeting. But I do want to really recognize the Witte Museum and Executive Director Maurice McDermott. Thank you for hosting us tonight. Great facility, and always good to be here. Maurice will be talking in just a little bit. I also want to recognize, I think everybody here should be considered a distinguished guest, obviously, but I guess it is proper to recognize a few here. Lou Fox. Lou, I saw you earlier. Lou's former city manager and representing University of Concord tonight, also part of the chair of the Midtown Tours as well. So welcome, Lou. My boss, Peter Zanoni, I recognize my boss. Assistant City Manager, Peter Zanoni. Howard Peak, former mayor with AT&T, Howard. And good to have you, Howard. And I'm sure you always get in trouble when you recognize a few, because obviously there's many important people, many very knowledgeable people here. And I do want to set the stage a little bit tonight. We're going to talk about these projects and some of the background of these projects. Many of you live here, work here, know the history. You've seen the drainage issues, you've seen the traffic issue, you know the historic issues. So we're welcoming that input all the way through as well, and be here for a long time tonight, especially out to talk about those details. So tonight, just to let you know the agenda here. Basically, I think I went over the purpose. We're going to have these various agencies. We're going to have Maurice come up and talk about the Witte. We're going to talk about the area drainage. I'm going to have Nefi Garza here, who's the Assistant Director in our Public Works Department, kind of give a 5-minute overview of how the drainage works in this area. Just some of you already know, others it'll be new information, but I think that'll help set the stage for some of the other discussions. Bear County's here, Art Villarreal, and we're going to talk about a couple city projects, an important SAWS project, and also an important SARA project as well. So I'm going to flip right to this is so important. We know that there's these drainage projects are interconnected with one another. We know there's limited traffic corridors in this area, and so what we want to do is make sure you're as informed as you can be. And so what we're doing is creating a website, and we're going to have some of that link information here. It's not live yet, but it will be soon. We also have an email blast that's been developed, so you'll have an opportunity during or after the meeting to get your email address down, so that when we have updates from any of the agencies on a particular project, you can get that email blast, and you'll be able to go to the website and also see the status of the projects as well. Really, this is starting now, be in place for a couple of years while these projects are going on. And again, this isn't active yet, but it's going to be a specific website for the Broadway corridor. There'll be links from all of the different agencies to get to it, and so you can look forward to seeing that. And we'll do the email blast when it is live so you can get the specific link. Okay, I think we talked about the agenda. This is cooperating, but I'm gonna. Is it thinking? Okay. What I'd like to do, we're queuing up. We're going to queue up Maurice's presentation. They were all going to be part of one, but they're going to be separate now, so that'll take just a minute. But Maurice McDermott coming up, President and CEO of the Witte Museum, and say a few words.
Welcome to the Witte Museum. I just want to take this opportunity, there, they have it up, but to say how grateful we are for so many of these projects. We who have been along Broadway, Witte has actually been here since 1926. I personally haven't been here since 1926, but I have read the archives of all of our directors, and I know that many of these problems have been here since, well, for decades. And to have the infrastructure, both underground and overground, finally attended to is really critical for this historic artery. I know it's going to be difficult for some of us. Our budgets have been lowered over the next couple of years, but ultimately this is going to be such a revitalization and excitement for this corridor. There's lots of work. A lot of you in this room are on committees visioning the Broadway Cultural Corridor, the Midtown Tours, all different ways, the river improvement projects, and the infrastructure are critical parts of that. So I want to thank the city, the county, SAWS, and Sarah for putting a lens on Broadway and good work. The Witte is anticipating this growth. We actually are growing all the time. We have about 400,000 people that come to the Witte at this point anyway. And so we have to build capacity to grow. We don't have enough room for folks, which is a great challenge to address. So this is our master plan very quickly. You came in through a door that won't exist because we'll have a new entrance in the center of the campus. We are building right now, we're renovating, animating a closed building, the Pioneer Hall. We're turning it into the South Texas Heritage Center. And we'll be building the Center for Rivers and Aquifers all the way to the right of your screen. The really critical component of our project was to purchase a private office building to the south of the campus so that what we call in the museum business, the back of the gallery work, will be on in that commercial property. Our collections, our staff, our exhibit fabrication, so that when we do build the campus on this very delicate riparian habitat, beautiful property, it'll just be a minimal footprint and it'll be a public footprint. It'll be for all of you. So we were careful to address that. We already know that we've built the parking facility, but what we're doing right this minute, and actually that parking facility is Brackenridge Park parking facility for all of the park and used by all the park users, as well as the Witte, since we're in the park. This is the South Texas Heritage Center. It'll open in March of 2012. It'll be under construction. It will not affect traffic, though traffic will affect it when it opens. But please find a way to get there in March of 2012. It's going to be fabulous. For the first time, we'll have a permanent facility to show the story of South Texas and San Antonio from the 1700s on. This project will also include the renovation, the rediscovery of the Acequia Madre that John Meisel mentioned, that San Antonio River Authority is helping us discover the 1719 Acequia Madre, the Alamo Acequia, 10 feet under the Witte property, which is part of our history. This is taking the roof off that center to kind of get you an idea of what it's going to be, and starts in Main Plaza in 1849 and goes out to the ranches and farms. We don't have much time, but I just want you to know, too, that the first building that we built along the river opened its arms to the river instead of its back to the river was the HEB Science Treehouse, and we'll be transforming that to the HEB Body Adventure. This is really what we want to talk about tonight. This is our new entrance, and it'll open its arm to reach out to the revitalization of Broadway with an aqueduct splashing river somehow from the river to Broadway to reinforce the idea that Broadway is a parallel artery to the river, which is our wonderful and important artery in San Antonio. This is our new entrance, which will accommodate all our visitors after all of this work is done. And most important is when this work is done, particularly the SAW work that you're going to hear about tonight, we will be building the Center for Rivers and Aquifers and a wetlands. Again, Sarah and SAW and Bear County will be helping us with this. But originally, this entire area was 10 feet lower than it is now. And the water didn't jump the banks and go along Broadway. It actually stayed in Artesian Springs and wetlands. And so we'd like to bring that back, and that will help mitigate some of the excess water that goes here and there throughout all of our properties. So that will be very helpful, but that won't happen until after a lot of this infrastructure work is done. And again, we consider urban wetlands critical to what we're trying to do with our vision, to have these small little creatures be able to have their families right in this urban park, this great Breckenridge Park. And that's really it for us. We were just instructed to give you an overview. I'm happy to answer questions later, but I think the real information tonight is about these infrastructure projects.
Thank you, Maurice. Appreciate that. Lots of great things going on at the meeting to look forward to. We're going to have Nephi Garza come up and again give the broad overview of drainage before we start getting into the specific projects. So Nephi is our Assistant Director of Public Works over Stormwater. Prior to that, he was with Sarah, San Antonio River Authority.
Thank you, Mike, and thank all of you. Man, this feels like church. Everybody's standing in the back. Thank you so much for spending some time, spending your evening and coming and visiting with us to learn of these important improvements that are going on. I wanted to take just a few minutes to tell you about some of the work that was done that led up to some of these improvements. Please understand, as well, to tell you the truth, especially the folks that live around here, you know of the issues, you know of the drainage concerns. It's just important that we collaborate and work together to figure out the best and the correct solution for this area. It all started looking at some of the drainage components, looking at the flooding that has occurred, and making sure that our science calibrated to that information that had occurred both in 2007, 98, and all the other subsequent events that we have had. This map that I have on here, it's actually taken from a screenshot from a website that you can all visit. It's called bearfloodfacts.org. It's a website created by the San Antonio River Authority for the partnership that is between the City of San Antonio, San Antonio River Authority, and Bear County. And this website is a good source of information for floodplain information and some of these things. I took these screenshots straight from there. If you're interested, please visit the site and take a look at some of those things. You have the ability of turning on an aerial photo and zooming in very closely. This image that you see here, I don't know if I have a pointer here. I do. This area that you see illustrated here will show, and I'm sorry you can't see it in the back, but you will show a large blue area. In this area, it happens to be the pool area of Olmos Dam. Now, you should know that the river, just back here, it drains a large watershed. It actually drains two major tributaries, one of them being Olmos Creek. Now, the area that Olmos Creek drains, if you're familiar with San Antonio, up there by 1604 in Fiesta, Texas, that's where the Olmos Creek watershed begins. And all of that area drains behind Olmos Dam. Now, Olmos Dam holds back all of that water. It holds it back for quite some time. There is another tributary or another creek that enters the San Antonio River, and that is along Broadway, along Alamo Heights, Austin Highway, North New Braunfels, that area there. If you're familiar with Austin Highway, you'll know that you'll recognize the grates, the steel grates that are on the ground. That area right there also